G'day everybody and welcome to week 9 of Susies Selections, brought to you by Sinclair Wilson.
Are you getting everything you deserve? At Sinclair Wilson, we can answer all of your financial questions, optimise your tax position and develop long-term strategies which will be very much to your advantage. Sinclair Wilson, for strength in numbers.
Big week in football, of course. Everybody, Mick Malthouse's career at Carlton is over. Is at the end of his coaching days. It looks like it could be at this stage. Of course, Carlton start things off against the Sydney Swans at the SCG on Friday night. Sometimes clubs rally when they have an interim coach in place and can get the win, but I don't see the Blues doing it. They're coming from too far back and they're against the super side in the Swans, who of course had a big win over Hawthorn last weekend. So Sydney for me, quite comfortably. And then on Saturday we have Hawthorn versus Gold Coast Suns at Aurora Stadium. The Hawks are really struggling to string back-to-back wins together this year, but we're back to an odd-numbered round, so surely that means I'll get the win this week. But pattern aside, they're just far too classy an outfit for the Suns, and I'm tipping them to get a very comfortable win in this one. Then we have Melbourne versus Port Adelaide at Traeger Park up in Alice Springs. We're going all over the country this weekend. Now, I don't really know what's going on with Port this year. They're struggling a fair bit and not where most people expected them to be. What kind of Port outfit will turn up this weekend? Who knows? I'm tipping them to win, but it's a bit of a tentative selection. And then we have Western Bulldogs versus Greater Western Sydney at Etihad Stadium. The Doggies have been up and down a bit this year, but the Giants are travelling along nicely, and I'm tipping them to continue that run. I'm sticking with them to get a win over the Dogs. And it's Richmond versus Essendon for Dreamtime at the G on Saturday night. Both teams, of course, had very good wins last weekend, but Richmond's probably been the better team over the past couple of weeks, and for that reason I'm going to tip them in this one, but I think it's going to be a very close contest. And Adelaide takes on Fremantle at Adelaide Oval to finish off the Saturday matches. Who's going to beat the Dockers this year? Hard to tell. I don't think it's going to be Adelaide, so I'm tipping Fremantle to make it 9 from 9 with a good win over the Crows. And on Sunday we have Brisbane versus St Kilda at the Gabba. Going to take a bit of a punt with this one. I'm going to go for Brisbane, just based on the fact that they beat Port Adelaide up there, but what does that even mean this year? It's hard to tell. St Kilda's been a very impressive side. I'm sticking with the Lions. Maybe. I think they should win, but time will tell. And then we have Collingwood versus North Melbourne at the MCG. The Pies have the momentum going into this game with a big win over the Suns last weekend. So if they can carry that into the game, which I think they will, I'm tipping them to get the win, but I think it's going to be another close one. And then finally we have West Coast Eagles versus Geelong at Subiaco. The Eagles are sitting very nicely in second spot on the ladder and at home should get the win over the Cats. In the paper I've tipped Geelong just because that's what I do. I tip Geelong every week, but if you actually want to put any thoughts into your tips, I'd probably be going with the Eagles for this one. So for the sake of this video, it's the Eagles. Over to the Hampton League now, where things are travelling very nicely after a huge country championships win over the Murray Football League. To start things off, we have North Warrnambool versus Portland at Bushfield Oval. In a nutshell, I'm going to go with the Eagles for this one. They're sitting 4-1 and against the winless Tigers should get the job done. Then we have Koroit versus Cobden at Victoria Park. The Bombers have a bit of spark about them this year, but there's a lot of ground to make up before I think they can topple the reigning premiers in Koroit, so the home side for me probably pretty comfortably. We have South Warrnambool versus Port Fairy at Friendly Societies Park. The Seagulls of course had a good win over Camperdown before the break, and if they can keep the momentum going, should get a pretty comfortable win over South. And then it's Terang Mortlake versus Hamilton Kangaroos at Terang Recreation Reserve. The Bloods are in the top 5 now, and it's time for them to knuckle down, try and cement their spot there and maybe push towards the top 3. And it starts with what I think will be a win over the team that actually booted out the top 5. And finally, it's Warrnambool versus Camperdown at Reed Oval. It's a big challenge for the young Magpies, but it'll be a really good test for them to see where they're at this season. It's impossible to go past the Blues though, so I'm tipping Warrnambool probably by a bit of a margin in this one.
Hi everyone, it's Peter Williams here. I'm taking over from Susie for the next 4 weeks while she's away. I hope you all do well this week with Susie's selections. The next 4 weeks I'll be taking over, so hopefully I can help you too. Remember,